6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the podcast series with your host, the Podcast Mogul. Today, I'm very happy to have Steve and Izzy of the Everything I Learned from Movies podcast. Guys, how are you guys doing today?
Great. How about yourself, Phil?
I'm doing good. Izzy, how are you?
Doing well.
Awesome. Very happy to have you guys on here. And I, of course, learned everything from movies myself. If I didn't have movies in my life, I'd probably be bored. But I want you guys to quickly introduce yourselves to my audience. Let them know a little bit about you guys and why you started the podcast. And then we'll jump into the whole shebang, or a bit about your podcast. Not why you started it, but about your podcast.
It's called Everything I Learned from Movies on all the major podcatchers. We've been doing it for a little over 6 years now, and twice a week for at least 5 of those years. And we talk about bad to questionable movies, and basically we come to bring a light. We have fun with the not so great movies, but we also appreciate things like, oh, they did this really well, and of course, little things what we learned.
We justify bad movies.
Yeah.
Some of our favorite movies are technically classified as "quote unquote" bad movies, and critics are wrong. And then we
Critics
also
are
review.
always wrong.
Right. And then we also review good beer. Steve and I are both BJCP certified beer judges. And so we talked a little bit about the beers.
Yeah, we've also had some incredible interviews with like John C. McGinley, Thomas Jane, a good friend of the podcast, Dana Gould.
Wow.
We've done about 40 or so interviews.
About that, yeah. Sven Thorson.
Oh, yeah.
If you know, you know.
That was our first.
Wow. Jeez. I need to go deeper into your catalog. You guys have over like we were just talking before, you have 327 right now as recording. You just released the big hit with Marky Mark.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Checking, homie.
How did you guys decide on choosing movies? Like, not just generally bad movies, just movies in general, doing a podcast about movies?
Oh, well, my lovely husband here collects movies and has collected movies long before I knew him, has literally thousands and thousands of DVDs. And I also come from people who love movies and love movies myself. And we actually bonded over enjoying movies and whatnot. And we decided, there's enough off the mainstream radar movies to talk about. We originally started listening to podcasts about movies, and it was just getting really repetitive. Like when you first get into podcasts and you find just the big major ones, and it's like, OMG, everybody's talking about Batman this week, and it's like, yes, I've heard it. Say something interesting.
So our first episode was Tremors 5 Bloodlines, because we had just seen it on Netflix, and wanted to share what we learned from that movie.
You know what I learned from that movie, Steve?
What's that?
If you've got ass blasters, you've got graboids.
There you go.
Tremors is such an iconic movie.
This was Tremors 5.
I know, no, just the Tremors the whole series of Tremors movies is just iconic.
Oh, they're phenomenal. I love them.
Just crazier and crazier. Oh my god.
And we interviewed the writer of the first Tremors.
Oh yeah, S.S. Wilson. He directed, I think, the third and the fourth or something like that too. So yeah.
I'm in royalty here. My God. I have a movie podcast, but it's nowhere near as great as yours. It was my first podcast. It's called The Phil Better Show. It could be named better, but I was narcissistic when I was younger. So I have to ask, your first date, was it going to the theaters or was it watching a movie?
No, actually, our first date was not really a date. I stole my friend's roommate. Steve was my friend's roommate, and I had just moved back from out of state and had nothing in my apartment. I had no furniture. I had nothing, and he was getting rid of an old TV. And
like a tube TV, like
Oh
a
my God.
giant 100-pound, 27-inch tube TV I had for like 15 years.
hey, and I was a starving art student with 0 TVs. So I was like, ooh, can I have that old TV? And he decided to bring it over. And as a thank you, I took him to I bought him a burger. And then as a thank you for buying my burger, he bought me a beer.
Yeah.
My God.
And then we started quoting Ghostbusters at each other.
Pretty much.
Love at Ghostbusters. I love it. Oh my God.
And we made a critic the critic references at each other,
yes,
and we're shocked the
yes.
other one knew what we were talking about.
Jesus. Yeah, you
That's
guys
when
lucked
we-
out there. That's like gold. Just finding gold in your partner, knowing that they love the same things you do. My God.
Exactly.
Now, what made you, apart from like all the major movie podcasts talking about the same movie, the most recent movie coming out, and having pretty much the same opinion, what else drove you to make your own podcast?
I mean, at first it was just kind of like just to see if we could, because obviously it hadn't really, we don't have like a production background or anything like that, really even entertainment, just kind of being us, which, can be entertaining, but it's
My
not like,
friends think I'm funny.
yeah, right. But
classic
stadiums,
story.
who knows, but so it was just kind of testing it out. And that's why like the first, I'd say 30 episodes are kind of rough, like, especially going back, because it wasn't until like episode 45 or 50 or something
like that.
I realized I was just using the laptop mic, and I was like, man, these mics I bought are supposed to be a lot
We bought
cleaner
like
and
3
crisper than
different
this.
mics, thinking the mics all sucked.
So
Oh God.
I was like 40 episodes,
Oh my
and then it was
God.
like, hey,
Yeah.
you can click this button.
yeah, wait,
Oh,
this
son of
changes-
a bitch.
oh, that's much better. Oh,
Technical difficulties for the first 40. Wow.
yes, yes. So the sound quality is not great, but the content can't be beat. No. Yeah.
We also we did the podcast just sort of for the two of us,
Mhm.
and we still just sort of do it for the two of us. Like for me personally, the idea that anybody actually listens to it horrifies me, so I have to pretend nobody's gonna listen to it. But I don't know, it's just fun sitting down and like Steve pulls up the fun facts and does all the research. I have a beer and get opinionated. It's just fun.
There you go. You have the straight and the foil in there,
Yeah,
My
and then
God.
after those 40 episodes or so, I started reaching out to the podcast community, just be like, "Hey, is this happening to anybody else?" And you'd be surprised how often it happens.
Yeah.
But or like lost episodes, where it's like,
Right.
"Oh, I thought it was the mic was plugged in, but it, just recorded static or something." And
But it was 4 hours of static.
and yeah, exactly, it's like contact, baby. And then just everybody's so willing, like with the podcast community and the homebrew community, which is like our two things. The whole community is just so willing to give suggestions and like, oh yeah, I use this program, and oh yeah, if you do this, it cuts out on any background noise from ravenous cats just jumping around eating plastic in the background, looking at you, Cameron.
We have 3 podcasts.
Ooh.
They make many appearances. We have Mr. Pickles, who's 21, aka Pickles Cage, and then we have our 2 Torty Terror twins, Cameron and Poe. Yes, named after Cameron Poe from Con Air.
Oh my God.
And then when Steve and the Nicolas
After my own
Cage
heart.
pun animal names came from when Steve met me. I had a cat. Well, I had Mr. Pickles as well, but my other cat was Castor Troy. And I was ashamed to admit for like the first 4 years of our relationship that he was named after Nicolas Cage from Face Off.
So
And so
funny
I kept
enough,
saying
I just reviewed Face Off, and I was a guest on another podcast talking about Face Off. So, Castor Troy,
It's a
Oh, yes.
fantastic movie.
it's
Oh.
so good. Like Nicolas Cage isn't appreciated enough, I don't think.
Oh, he is on our
not.
podcast, that's for sure.
He's the patron saint of our podcast for
I
sure.
love it. I love it. I'm definitely going to be sending your podcast to one of my friends who's a huge Nicolas Cage fan. So I'll be like, hey, you need to listen to this more because this is amazing. They have a
Well,
patron
like
saint.
this August, we'll be doing Nick August Cage for like the third or fourth time. He's easily the most covered actor on our podcast.
Absolutely.
And we talked to his brother, Chris Coppola. We talked to a
Wow.
couple of directors that have worked with him, a couple of
his
actors.
stand-in.
Yeah, his
We talked to
stand-in,
his
Michael
stand-in.
Pettis. Yeah.
And you still haven't got him on the show?
We're circling him. Him
Oh.
and Jean-Claude Van Damme, we've been just kind of circling, and like
Yep.
eventually word will get out. So someone will be like, oh yeah, I gotta shoot him a text or something.
So, wait, you've already had like most of his inner circle on your show. Like it shouldn't be that hard just to send him an email or send his agent an email saying, look, we've talked to these people. Here are the episodes. Like we're not totally crazy.
But believe me, a
Oh.
lot of emails have been sent out,
We-
but very
and
few have been
we-
responded to.
We even said like, hey, to Mr. Chris Coppola, hey, if you enjoyed it, any of your siblings would be interested in being on our show. We would be happy to have them.
Hint, nudge, nudge. Oh
And
my
look, the
God.
offer still stands. Any Coppolas, you're welcome on our show.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's amazing. Like now I have to ask you, how do you like reaching out to the potential guests who are outside of the pod community? Like we're looking at Chris Coppola, the stand-ins, and all these
Yeah.
other great. How do you go about getting them on your show? Do you have a specific formula, or is it just like pray and
Every
spray?
person's different. Like a couple people, it's like hitting them up on Facebook. Like Facebook
Yep.
Messenger. There've been going through like publicists and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean,
Actually asking other guests, like at the
Oh,
end, like
yeah.
if you enjoyed this, would you, do you have anybody you're working with on a project or have worked with you think would be interested? That's
Yeah.
how we got John C. McGinley. He was doing Stand Against Evil, directed
Mhm.
by Dana Gould. And we asked Mr. Gould, like, hey, do you think anybody else from Stand Against Evil would like to be on? And he was like, oh, I'll see if anybody wants to. And then he messaged us and said, John will call you like Friday at 2.
Wow.
yeah, it just kind of happens the most random ways. Like I sent an email to Uwe Boll, famed director. Within
Yeah.
like 20 minutes, he was like, "Yeah, you want to chat like tonight?"
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes,
We've had
yes.
him on
I'm
twice.
canceling everything. Oh my God.
Yeah, and check out both our Uwe Boll interviews because he is a phenomenal character, but especially the first one where you can hear about how him and his crew may have accidentally burned down a small Serbian town, and then he rescued all the dogs and brought them home.
Okay, that's definitely going on the playlist right now.
At
my
the time we recorded with him, he still had one of them.
Oh my God, that's great. Oh my God. I'm mystified here. I feel like I'm not like I've talked to like millionaires in this, and they're like, okay, whatever. You guys are talking to like pure celebrities over here. I'm out of my depth. God.
Well,
And-
I think like it's just like keep on them because they're super busy. Their publicists are
Yeah.
super busy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a no until it's a like, please stop emailing me.
it's like here's a
Which
cease and
we have also
desist letter.
received.
We need to print those out and do like a wall of rejection. But also like if you're not going to get Jean-Claude Van Damme, because nobody's getting Jean-Claude Van Damme, look at stunt people who've
Yeah.
who've worked
God.
on your favorite movies. Look at like the costume guys, the makeup people.
Just the background characters, or the
Yeah.
people that had like the one funny line or whatever, but then you look at their career and obviously they've been working for 15-20 years, like doing episodes of this and that.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They
okay,
have one line in 200 things. They've been on every iteration of NCIS or CSI.
They're just the random tech that's on every episode that no one knows about, but they're there. I know.
Yeah,
that
but they
person.
have some great stories. Well, so
Yeah,
like our very
absolutely.
first interview was Fennel Thorson, who you may not be totally familiar with, but he is the big bearded guy who's in the background of every Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. He's Tigress from Gladiator,
LaForce
Yeah.
from Mallrats.
The Force from Mallrats. Super nice guy. He was telling us all kinds of stories about pranking Arnold Schwarzenegger and the crew because they hung out together for 20 years.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, stuntmen have some of the best stories.
Stuntmen
in my
have
whole
great
life.
stories. Yeah, like if you can't get your main star, go talk to like some of the lesser known folks, because for sure they have amazing stories.
Plus, and they'll probably be more open to it since they're not getting all these requests like the major stars are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like Nicolas Cage, obviously, like Pig's a big hit, so all the variety, everybody wants to talk to him, and
Mhm.
of course, as they should, because he's an amazing actor, possibly the greatest living working actor we have today.
Yeah.
But but somebody like who's the other guy in Pig, Alex Wolff or whatever, he's probably getting interviewed too, but what about, I don't know, the guy who was getting beaten to death in the underground Portland hobo fight? He might want to talk about that
Right.
experience.
Well, and then we interviewed
spoilers
Marshall
for me.
Bell, who's an
Oh, yeah,
amazing
yeah.
character actor. So nice. He was one of our greatest interviews. All of our interviews have been great. We really haven't had a bad
It's
one.
true. It's true.
But then his wife, Melina Cananero, she's won 4 Academy Awards for her costume design. She happened to come in the room and say hi on our podcast.
Wow, you had an Academy Award winner on your. Wait, how many Academy Award winners have you had on your podcast?
I mean,
Has Thomas Jane won it
no,
again?
yeah. Thomas Jane has it. Jessica McGinley has it. We've had dozens of snubs. That's
Jeez. Over here with Academy Award winners appearing on your show and that.
I'd actually never even thought of that. Yeah, we yeah, I guess we really haven't had many, but yeah, still, it's a lot of people that have had incredible, like 20, 30, 40-year careers doing some amazing things, and it, like, that's I don't know, just knowing the stories behind the making of movies and stuff like that, it makes us, like, when we watch a quote unquote bad movie, it's like, still, you can tell, like, they had a great time making it, perhaps, or maybe it's like, oh, okay, they're doing this, they really have to use their imagination because their special effects budget is, I don't know, $20 and stuff like that.
The director of Turkey Shoot.
Brian Trenchard Smith.
Brian Trenchard Smith. He's literally directed hundreds of these super low budget Ozploitation films. If you aren't familiar, Australian exploitation films. It's all just boobies and weird stunts, like as many as they can cram in. Australia, when in the 60s and 70s, wanted to start a movie scene, but they didn't really make any laws around it. And so all the movie makers realized that, like, they could just pay stuntmen by the stunt.
Oh my
and
God.
So the stuntmen would just come up with crazier and crazier stunts to get more money and get more gigs. And so he had the record for the longest truck jump on screen for like 35 years.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Oh my God. The man has an amazing book. Was it The Adventures in the B Movie Trade by Brian Trenchard Smith? It is like 600 pages, and every single page is just an incredible story, one after another.
Yeah.
We've had him on the podcast a couple times, and just a great dude.
And he loves to chat. Podcasters, if you want to go get an interview, Brian Trenchard Smith is an excellent place to start. He is a wonderful speaker. He has amazing stories. Just ask him a couple of questions and let him go.
My God, that's amazing. Now, Izzy, you're scared to know that people listen to your podcast.
Yes.
So if I told you what your global ranking is according to Listen Notes, would you be upset with me?
Oh no, because I'm sure it's in the thousands.
It's not. You're in the top 5% of podcast listens worldwide.
What?
Woo! Yeah.
That's that one guy in Great Britain who kept downloading the same episode for 3 years.
kept downloading body parts every day for 3 years.
Oh my God.
Thank you, sir, or madam,
or
perhaps.
Madam.
Thank you, person. But yeah, no, you guys are in the top 5%. You're in the, like, that's huge.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't
Because
know.
you have over 300 episodes, maybe?
Because we
quantity, not quality. That's
we
how we do it.
refuse to quit. Many have told us you need to knock it off.
No, but that's out of 2.8 million podcasts.
Nice. Is he top 5%? So yeah, top 100,000 or so.
I mean, how many
okay with
people
that.
do we know have started podcasts, got 2 episodes in, and got bored with it?
That's
Yeah,
true.
pod fade.
Yeah.
It's the pod fade situation, and it's huge. How did you guys battle the pod fade? Obviously, you guys are doing amazing movies.
Well, it helps to be banging your co-host.
Yes,
but,
marry your co-host, because then you guys will be like on the same schedule for recording.
Yeah.
That helps. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I mean, we do 2 episodes a week too, which, you know, a lot of podcasts out there, it's like, you know, every other week or something. Like,
Mhm.
how do you do 2 a week? Well, we
We record them all at once.
yeah, we tend to bunch them up, and
Yeah.
like for example, we're about a month ahead in our recordings and stuff. You know, fine tunings here and there, but
Mhm.
it's just kind of keeping consistent. And you know, no matter what your podcast is, no matter what your topic is, make sure it's something you want to do. Like I know,
Mhm.
like if you start a podcast and like, you know, you love doing the research and there's so much of it, topic not so much, but after a year or so, doing a lot of research and all that can kind of wear on you.
Mhm.
And so that's
Yeah.
where like Podfade stuff comes in. Where with us, I mean, we love movies, we definitely love beer, we put it all together. I mean, it's usually one of our usual episodes per week, and then the second episode we will do like a mini episode or
Yep. We'll like review chip brands that I found at the international store. By the way, don't get the Sakura flavored Lays. No, just don't do it.
yeah,
Okay,
we
I'll stay away
also
from that.
we've done like, you know, random little game shows and
Mhm.
stuff where it's like, you know, get a couple of our podcaster friends together and have them recast a movie, and then, you know, let Twitter and Facebook and all them decide who won, and you know, they get a nice little one of Izzy's lovely prints or something, you know, little art prints for a
Yeah.
prize. And you know, we just kind of
Get Izzy drunk and talk about goats for an hour.
that has happened before, yes. Yeah, so we have our usual episode and then something else. Like sometimes it's a throwback to one of our first episodes. Now that I can go through and, you know, clean up the audio and
Make it sound a little bit
Editing.
better.
What
Yeah.
is editing? Well, and then that's the other thing too. Like, in all honesty, like an edited podcast isn't usually a superior podcast. But if you hate editing, don't edit. Just try and, you know, just keep doing it, get your rhythm, and yeah, and like practice. And then, like Steve said, try and get ahead, have a couple of like evergreen episodes in your pocket, something that's not dated.
Mhm.
Maybe something a little off the cuff, so that if an emergency comes up, for example, I recently had emergency surgery. I
Ooh.
wasn't podcasting for like 2 weeks. We had episodes planned.
Yeah, no, one of my biggest thing is having episodes in the can. Like all my episodes, I think I record a month to 2 months in advance, simply because I run my own podcasting production, so I have to take care of my client stuff, which is more important than my show, or my shows. So like getting those in the can and getting those ready. Usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays are spent recording episodes all day.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, so you made it work for you. I mean, obviously, we all have day jobs. I mean,
Right.
we're not, you know, Manscaped isn't paying for for us to live a lap of luxury or anything like that. But
We don't have any Blue Chew sponsors or anything like that.
Do you guys go out and look for sponsors?
Yeah, we've actually had a couple of sponsors over the years. We also were approached by our lovely hosts, Age of Radio, who give us some ad revenue. They go ahead and get the ad revenue, and we get paid based on the number of listens that we get a week. And it's basically just covering the podcast.
Yeah, it covers costs. Yeah.
As long as we don't get any like barrel aged beers, we can not go into the red.
It pays for grocery store beers for the show. That's basically it.
Hey, any little revenue comes in is great revenue for a podcaster.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But like, so I am an artist. That's my job, which means I usually have some sort of other side gig going as well. And so, like, for a while, I was working for a really lovely handmade aromatherapy company, little Etsy shop called Frankie and Myrrh. They're great guys, and I got them to basically give us a promo code for some of their online sales. So we did that for a while. That was fun. So I mean, like, literally just approaching some of my small business friends and being like, hey, you know, if you give me a promo code, if somebody buys you something from your store, can I get $2?
Hey, and it works out. You're helping small businesses grow by using your platform, and
Exactly.
you know, you make a few dollars on the back end. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, even with Izzy's art and stuff, obviously we promote that through the episodes and stuff too, because we always have like, we occasionally have like episode specific art and like running jokes and stuff on T-shirts and stuff like that. But also like with other podcasts and stuff, like we'll give them a code where it's like, hey, refer to untidyvenus.etsy.com, save
Hashtag
20% with the code HobiePod or whatever whatever the name of the podcast might be. And so, trying to pay it forward to other people too,
I love that. I love that. That's great. Now, unfortunately, we're 25 minutes in. It's only a 30-minute podcast, but I want to know, like, tips. If you have one tip for a podcaster who's about to start, what would you say? What would you say to that?
Just do it. Just do it. Record one tonight. Record your worst one tonight. Like your practice one, whatever. Just do it. Just put it out there. Just tell your friends, hey, I'm testing this thing out. What do you think? Like, just get repetition under your belt. Just do it. Because you can get up in your head. You can do all the research. You can try and like, oh, but I want to have 35 episodes in the can before I even publish it. Don't do it. Just put one out there.
Yeah, get 5 or 6 maybe. Just again, having it a month out or whatever. Don't over stress about it. I mean, it's not, you're not going to make $1 bazillion. I'm sorry. You're just not because you're not already a celebrity. If you're asking, oh man, anyone who makes money on a podcast has a producer reaching out to him saying, hey, you should do a podcast so I could use your name on it. Looking at everything iHeartRadio. But I mean, nothing guesses. I listen to the Always Sunny podcast and the, This Is Important with the Workaholics guys. I love all those things, but do something you enjoy doing, because you're going to find you're doing it a lot.
And don't be afraid to change the program. Like, don't, even if you're like, oh, but this is the Saint Today podcast, I'm going to talk about all the saints each day. Feel free to just be like, hey guys, I'm tired of talking about Catholic saints. I want to talk about cats for a while. Make it the Cat a Day podcast. Like, feel free to just like, up and change if you are really just bored.
Yeah, that's honestly why we named our show Everything I Learned from Movies, because it very easily can have a special mini episode, Everything I Learned from Sports Ball, or Everything I Learned from
snack food.
Yeah, snacks. Yeah.
All right. I do have a question, because you guys are certified beer judges.
Correct.
Yes.
When you guys decide on, watching a movie, one of these great movies that you choose to watch, how do you pair the beer with the movie?
Usually luck. No. Like I remember like a lot of our first episodes, it was very specifically like, oh yeah, we're watching this movie and trying to pair it with a beer from if it's set in New Orleans, like, oh yeah, get an Abita Brewery beer.
Yeah, the main character's name is Melvin, so we got something for Melvin Brewing.
Yeah.
We honestly just pick beers that sound interesting and or we already know we like, and then we just grab good beers.
There you go. Okay.
Usually trying to segue it into the episode is the fun part.
Oh, those segues must be golden.
Steve is the king of segues.
Yeah, that's it. We'll go with that.
The awkward segues are always the best segues I find in podcasts, because it's just like, oh, they're trying so hard and it's glorious. And then you have your co-host call you out on the segue and you're like, damn it.
And the key is yes and.
Yes, then. All right, so we're coming up to the end, guys. I'm going to jump off the screen. I know you guys are on satellite internet, so unfortunately we can't see your beautiful faces. But please, I want you to let my audience know where they can find, how they can connect with you guys so that they can support this your amazing podcast. So the floor is yours. Whoops, wait, nope. Sorry, wrong button. The floor is yours.
Excellent. Yeah, we're on all the major podcatchers under Everything I Learned from Movies, but please feel free to hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon at EILF Movies. That's Everything I Learned from Movies. Babe, are you on social media at all?
I am. You can find my art. I even have some podcast-related art, and I have a whole set of movie monsters who love kittens over at Untidy Venus. That's a goddess who's bad at housekeeping.etsy.com. I'm also on all the social media at Untidy Venus, and I have a Patreon one where I'm going to be putting up some like little art lessons. I have like a sticker of the month club, fun art stuff at Untidy Venus.
That's awesome. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, in the show notes down below, you'll be able to find all those links to go support Steve and Izzy and everything I love about, I learned from movies. Sorry, everything I love movies. Everything I learned.
Nobody gets
movies.
it right the first time. So.
Right. And feel free to
And
call
I
us
said it
Stizzy.
like 4 times. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you so much for being amazing guests and sharing your podcasting journey and why you guys started your podcast. I can't thank you enough for being amazing guests.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And make sure you subscribe to Invest in Yourself podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that plug. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, as they said, just do it and invest in yourself. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.